I welcome you all to next lecture of this Unit 5 primary manufacturing process. Till now we have covered the basics of manufacturing process and what is the casting process, what are the different kind of forming processes. So now we are going to cover the drawing process in this lecture. So, drawing process is a process basically in which we reduce the diameter of a specimen, and the basic difference between the wire drawing or tube drawing and extrusion is in drawing process we apply pulling load, we pull the material from the die. But in case of extrusion, if you remember, we used to apply load in the initial stage. It means we pushes the material through a die. So if somebody asks you that what is the basic difference in terms of load, applying load in drawing process and extrusion process, then you can say that in case of extrusion process we apply load in the initial conditions. In we put the nature of load is pushing is to push the material through die, and in case of wire drawing the nature of force is to pull the material from the die. So this is what drawing process, and in this bulk process wire, rod, bar are pulled through a die hole, reducing the cross section area. So this is the die, this is the initial diameter of the rod, and this is the final diameter of the rod. Now we need to know that what are the criteria on basis we define wire drawing and rod drawing. So basically, difference between bar drawing and wire drawing is the stock size that we use for forming process. Bar drawing is meant for large diameter bar and rod, while wire drawing is meant for small diameter stock. Basically, wire sizes of order of 0.03 mm are produced in wire drawing. So if the size in this range, then we will say it is a wire drawing process, and if the size it is above that this wire size, then it will be termed as rod drawing, or you can say bar drawing. Now the operating stages. Uh, Basically, bar drawing is a single stage process because in which we have the diameter of a significant size, and in single stage we reduce the diameter of the size. Single stage means we will need a single die unit. It means this is a single unit representation of drawing process. Single unit means we have only one arrangement of the die. If we again add the die here if we reduce the diameter and again we arrange the die here to reduce the diameter in the further way, then it will called as multi-stage drawing process. So bar drawing is generally done as a single stage operation in which a stock is pulled through one die opening. The inlet bars are straight and not in the form of coil. Remember, the rods should not be in the form of coil because the diameter is high, and it will be not easy to pull the rod if it is in a coil form. Now, if we talk about the wire drawing, wire is drawn from the coils. Wire, we hold the wires in form of coils consisting of several hundred meters of wire. And since the diameter of wire is too less, and if we want to reduce the diameter, we will use generally different stages to reduce the diameter in a continuous manner. So the number of dies varies between 4 to 12. It means such arrangement will be in series. This is the first arrangement. Again, same way there will be second arrangement, third arrangement, and all these number of arrangements are termed as stages. So in terms of in the wire drawing, we have stages in between 4 to 12. So this is called continuous drawing process because of the long production runs, and generally the wires are formed in coil. But if if we find out some fragments in the segment, then we do butt welding to make it continuous. What is butt welding? We will study in welding lectures. Now this is the tube drawing process. Initially we studied in the previous slide we studied about the wire drawing and the bar drawing. Now we are going to cover the tube drawing process. So in the tube drive, basically what we do, we reduce the thickness of the tube and we reduce the diameter, internal and internal diameter as well as the outside diameter of a tube. So in this figure you can see that first one, this is the rod drawing process, simple. Now we use a mandrel here in between the die, and this is the tube, initial dimension of the tube, and this is the shape of die. Now we pulling the tube from this die, and with the help of this mandrel, the thickness of this tube can be controlled, and the diameter of this tube can also be controlled. So we have two different kind of material we use in tube drawing. First one is this fixed material, and second one is this floating material. And we can also perform this tube drawing without help of without help of material. So if we don't use mandrel, then we can't control the thickness of the tube. This is the only drawback of if we don't use mandrel in the tube drawing process. So this operation is used to reduce the diameter or wall thickness of seamless tubes and pipes. The tube drawing can be done either with or without mandrel, that I explained here. The simplest method use no mandrel and is used for diameter reduction, called as tube sinking. But remember, this can't control the thickness of the tube. But inside diameter wall thickness cannot be controlled, that I told you earlier. Now, so these are that we talked about the fixed material and the floating material. So in this case, the material is attached to a long support bar. You can see in the diagram here, this is the fixed material and it is supported by a long bar here. Okay, so in case of fixed material, it is supported along a bar, and to control the inside diameter and wall thickness during the operation, the length of support bar restricts the length of the tube that can be drawn. Now, how we say that the length of bar can restrict the size of a bar? You can see here, this is the length of the material, right? So the tube length must be same or less than this material size. So that's why we say in fixed kind of material, the fixed kind of metal restricts the length of tube that can be drawn. Now, what is this floating plug, or you can say floating material? As the same name suggests, the metal floats inside the tubes, and its shape is designed so that it finds a suitable position in the reduction zone of the die. There is no length restriction in this because it is a floating material and it lies between the die, and its size is small. That's why we don't have any restriction about the length of our tube. So this is a floating material. Now in next lecture we will cover the rolling process. That will be the last part of the forming process, and after that we will start with the welding operations. Okay, thank you.